Trying to connect. Oh, I think we are connected. Okay, so hello everyone. I think we're connected. Yes, it says live. So, hello everyone. I guess we'll wait for everyone to start joining in on the fun. Meanwhile, we'll be sharing the video with whoever wants to watch it. And so today, I will be answering any questions that anyone has regarding real estate investing to the best of my ability. I am going to say that I don't know everything about real estate, but I can definitely answer with my own experiences. So please don't take this as a course or anything. It's just me speaking out of my personal experience. So that's my little disclaimer. I am going to be discussing a case study or a little story of a deal that I did and that I'm actually kind of going through right now. And so I guess we'll just go ahead and get started. Hopefully everyone starts to join in. Welcome everyone that's joining. Hi Norma. I'll see you later. I don't know where, but we'll see each other. So without further ado, I guess let me go ahead and get started with the case study. Meanwhile, everyone is getting in on the action and starting to post their questions. So a few years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago, I don't remember exactly the date, but about that time ago, I bought a property from this lady. How it all started, it's a very long story. I'll try to make it as short as possible. It all started with me sending her a letter. She called me back and she was actually very, very upset because she said that a whole bunch of real estate investors were sending her letters and there was no way in hell she was ever going to sell her house to an investor, which I was fine with. I was like, okay, no worries. She was, venting or whatever on the phone. I didn't get the call. It was a message she left on my phone. I wish I would have saved that message, but I didn't. I deleted it. So she calls me up. I call her back, and I tell her, I started talking to her and I'm like, I'm not like most investors, but I get it if you don't want to sell to any investor. I just wanted to call you back to let you know that I got your voicemail and thank you for calling me back and, I won't bother you. So she starts to tell me her story about how she had a heart attack and there's some other personal issues that I really don't want to get into, but she just started going into her life story and how she lost her job, and I just felt bad for her. And so I'm thinking as a girl, I'm sure guys are going to say that. I'm thinking as a girl, well, this lady is like, has gone through hell and back. I'm sure she just was mean to me on the voicemail because she's just venting and I was just the first person she, I guess, needed to vent with. And I was like, look, not talking about the house, just literally just talking about you. It just sounds like you need someone to talk to. And I would love to just go to your house and go talk to you, listen to you, basically, let you vent. At this point, I didn't even want the house anymore because I was like, if this lady is this upset about me trying to buy her house, I'm like, I really don't care. Just me as a person, I wanted to go and say hello to her. And so I did. I believe that God puts us in the path that we're in for a reason. So I followed my instinct, my gut, whatever you want to call it. And I went to her house and because she told me she'd lost her job and that she, she just had all these medical issues and there's some drama that happened with her kids. I decided to take her groceries. I went to her house. I brought her groceries and I just let her talk, and she just talked and talked and talked and vented. We not once talked about the house or anything. It was just strictly me listening to her vent. And then I left, and I thought I was done with that. A few weeks passed, and so she calls me back, and she's like, you know what, Dee, I thought about it, and I think I want to sell you my house. And I was like, okay, that's fine if you want to sell me your house. I still need to do due diligence, and I need to figure out what I can pay for it and all that stuff. So I can definitely take a look. And she's like, yeah, just my son's getting married, so I want to make sure that I get him married off, and then we can do the sale of the property. And I was like, okay, great. So I think another month maybe passed by between the son getting married and everything. And so then she calls me up again. I did not bother her because from the original conversation, she didn't want to do anything, and I didn't want to push her to talk about the sale of her house. So she calls me up again, and she tells me she's ready. So I go to her house, and then we analyze her property. And at that time, I don't know what the numbers are again. It's been a while. But at that time, for example, her house was worth $130, and she owed $150. So she was underwater with her property. You know, she owes this much, and she can only sell it for this much. So really, you have this little gap here. You need to either come up with the money at closing when you sell the property, or you need to hold on to it, wait for that equity to go above what you owe. So anyway, I told her, you know, that was the case, and I'm like, well, I didn't know what she owed on the property or anything. I just told her this is what I can pay for it if I buy it cash. You know, usually your cash offer is the lowest offer of all. And so I went ahead and I made my cash offer, and I gave her, usually I give people a few options depending on what's going on with their family. In her case, I told her, well, look, if I buy it cash, this is what I can pay for it, you know, whatever that amount was. Obviously, it didn't work out for her because she owed this much and her house was worth this much, and I could pay way down here. So that was not an attractive offer for her. For me, of course, it was. And then I said, why don't you rent the property out? If you rent it out, you may not be able to rent it for much more than what you're paying a month, but you can keep your house and you can rent it out to someone else, move to a smaller place where you can pay less money, so your outgoing mail or outgoing money is less than what is going out right now. So you'll be a little bit lighter on your bills. And I don't remember what other offer I offered her, but those are the two that I remember for sure that I offered her as options that she could do. And then, you know, one of the other options, she owned a Mercedes Lake. It was a nice Mercedes. And so I said, look, why don't you just trade in your Mercedes, move out of your house, you know, get a smaller car, a less expensive car that you can afford, and go from there. Well, she didn't want to trade it. And I don't know, I'm kind of quoting her, but I'm not quoting her. But she was like, there's no way that I'm going to trade in my Mercedes. Besides, it's underwater too, so I can't trade it in. I have to keep it and whatever. I'd rather lose my house than my car. And, you know, people's priorities are different. So those were her priorities, and I can't judge her for whatever priority she has. So I was like, okay, whatever. I mean, if literally you want to sell me the house, this is what I can pay for it. The other option I did offer her was to take the property subject to. If you're not familiar with that, I'll kind of go a little bit through it. And if you have questions about it, then you can ask your questions in the comments. But basically what it means is I'm going to purchase the property subject to that loan that she has now stays in place. So I'm making the payments and everything. So we did all the paperwork. She decided that was the best offer that she was going to take. I didn't give her any money to walk away from the property because, one, she was underwater. I mean, like literally this is how much she owed and this is what the house was valued at. So on top of that, she owed like 6 months of rent or mortgage, late fees for that, attorney's fees for that. She had not paid the HOA, and so therefore there were late fees and attorney's fees with that. And so I paid everything. And so what I told her is basically look at the past 6 months as that's your payment, because I can't give you any more money, or just list the house or rent it. That's all you can do. She didn't want to rent it. She didn't want to list it. She wanted to sell it to me. So I bought the house from her, and this should have been my first sign. But I bought the house from her. The day after closing, I go to look at the house. She gave me the keys and everything. I go look at the house, and all of the fixtures are missing from the house. How she got in the house, I guess she kept an extra key. I don't know. But I called her, and I was like, all the lights are missing, like the ceiling fans, the light fixtures in the formal dining room. So she's like, yeah, I took them. And I'm like, why would you? I mean, you sold me the house. So she said because she paid for them, and those were upgrades that she did to the house. So she sold me the house, and she was taking her upgrades with her. And I was like, okay, my fault, because I should have been specific. Not everyone is in real estate. Not everyone, even though it says on the contract, the TREC contract, that, you know, everything that is attached to the house, like screwed in or nailed in, belongs to the house and it stays with the house. Even though it says it on there, I was like, okay, it's my fault. Not everyone's in real estate. I should have been more specific. I should have made sure that she understood 150% of that contract. And so I now make sure that all my contracts say that, you know, after we sign this contract, if you leave anything behind in the house, it's no longer yours, it's mine. So even though it says it on there, I still add a little note on the provision so that doesn't happen to me anymore. So I went and bought new fixtures, changed the locks, I mean, it was literally the next day. Usually we change them the very next day. We don't go that day of closing and change locks and everything. I've never had it happen before, and I never had it happen since, except with her. So, but usually within a day or two, we go and change the locks. It wasn't even 24 hours later, and she had done all that. So I think she did it overnight. But it was fine. I was like, okay, it's not a big deal. Let's move on. So then after that, like, she just was my best friend. She would always call me to go out to dinner. She would want to come to my house, and she started going to my church. And so all of this stuff was happening, and I'm like, okay, you know, I got to keep a little line there, invisible line, because I can't, I mean, I want to be nice to her. I really do, but I can't be too much of a friend, you know, because it's strictly business. But then all of a sudden she just started kind of backing away, and I was like, okay, she's kind of getting the hint. It's just a business relationship. And I think it was maybe last year, early last year, or maybe 2 years ago, I don't know. She was at my church, and one of my friends told me she was videotaping me at church. I mean, I don't know, she was pointing and saying stuff, and she was just recording me or taking pictures. I'm not sure. So my friends just kind of huddled around me and, you know, blocked it from happening. I don't know what she recorded. I don't know what she took pictures of or what she said. I don't know. But that's how it started. And I was like, that's weird. So I went to call her and she didn't answer. I looked for her on Facebook because she friended me on Facebook, and I couldn't find her. And a few months go by, And she calls me and she tells me she's going to sue me. And I'm like, what? I'm like, for 2 years, 3 years, I've been paying your notes. I brought everything current and all this stuff. And now this lady's telling me she's going to sue me. And I'm like, what is going on? She's like, oh, because you took advantage of me, because you took the house from me, and you should have known better. And I was under distress and whatever she was saying. And I was like, you signed like a power of attorney. She initialed 100 pieces of paper that I gave her, stating that she knew exactly what she was doing and she understood that it was subject to, and that I was going to take over the payments, and that loan was still going to stay in her name. And she initialed every single thing, read it and everything. But now all of a sudden, I was taking advantage of her. And so I said, okay, well, look, it seems that she said she had a boyfriend, and more details about the boyfriend that really are not pertaining to the case study. And the boyfriend got her an attorney. It turns out she didn't have a boyfriend and she didn't have an attorney. I don't know why she said that, but supposedly the boyfriend told her to get an attorney, and the attorney told her that she needed to sue me. So she said she was going to sue me. So I said, okay, well, at this point, I think, we have really hit our bottom. I said, if you have an attorney, then have your attorney call me, and then we will discuss it with your attorney what goes next. And the attorney never called. She never sued. Nothing ever happened. And then a few months after that, we stopped getting the bills to pay the mortgage. I call the mortgage company because I am an administrator on that account, because that was the deal, that I would be the one paying that loan with her giving me the deed to that house. So I call the mortgage company. I'm not allowed to get in the account. She blocked me from going in. So I call her and I'm like, hey, look, I guess somehow, perhaps by accident, you blocked me from this account. Can you please add me? We can't do our part if you're not letting us do our part. She's like, I didn't do it, or whatever the case was. I was like, it doesn't matter. Just add us back on. So she added us back on. A few months later, my tenant at that property, he calls me and he tells me, well, some lady came over and came and knocked on the door, and she was wanting to get into the house, and she said that this was her house and that you stole it from her, and that they're going to foreclose on you because you haven't paid the mortgage. And I'm like, no, it's my house. And I wasn't sure about the mortgage thing, but I was like, no, you need to pay your rent or I'm going to evict you. So he paid his rent, and he said he looked and for the documents on public records, and he saw that obviously it's a legit contract, and it was a solid contract that we had between her and I. And so I go to look, and she had done it again. This lady blocked me again from the mortgage. So for 2 months, we didn't pay the mortgage, which she didn't. I guess she thought that if we don't pay the mortgage, they're just gonna right then and there foreclose on us. Well, we paid the 2 months that we were behind, and we're current again, and nothing ever happened. And then I think that's what. It was so many things. I'm sorry. I said it was going to be pretty fast, but it's turning out to be a long story. So anyway, where was I? What was I saying? I totally lost my train of thought. This lady, she's so crazy. So anyway, where was I? Okay, so she blocked us again, and the tenant said that he wasn't going to pay rent, so he ended up paying rent. I called her back again, and she didn't answer. She said that she was ill, she was getting ready to die, and her son was the one that was in charge of the account. But she was going to go ahead and go ahead and add us back into the account. And so it was on like this for about 6 months or so, that we were on and off of the account, and we were getting information, not getting information. So finally, I was just like, you know what, let me just go ahead and refinance this house. I can't deal with this lady anymore. I tried to do it again, and she had blocked us again. Now she added a 4-digit PIN to the account, and she wasn't letting us in. Again, I have the power of attorney, so I sent it in. They refinanced us, and everything was good. Right before they refinanced, she called the mortgage company again and blocked everything from coming to us. And so usually when you refinance, or when you do something like that, a closing, there's escrow that's in the account. Well, the escrow is in her name, and she got the escrow overages that we had in that account sent to her. So now whatever money, I'm not sure how much it was, but I think we're looking at anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 in escrow that went straight to her, because she intercepted it from it coming to us. And it went straight to her. I spoke to the mortgage manager that I've been dealing with this the entire time. She's like, Dee, I can't give you any more information. She told us that we can't give it to you. And, you know, I'm sorry, I can't do anything more. I have to follow her instructions because she's the one that's on the loan. So I just sent her, this is still ongoing, this is now recent. I just sent her about a month ago, I sent her a demand letter stating that she knows that the house is ours, and anything that has to do with the house, including all the closing docs from the refinancing, and any closing papers, escrow, and or checks belong to us, and she needs to give it to us. And she has not replied, obviously. And I sent her son a message, you know, saying, hey, your mom told me to call you whenever I needed something, and so I've been trying to reach her. This is information that we need. And her son's like, I don't even talk to my mom. You're on your own. I don't want you to call me anymore. I don't know why she told you. I just sent her an email, and that's all I can do for you. So literally that's where I'm at right now. So tomorrow is the last day that we gave her on the demand letter to do the to send us whatever documents belong to us, to send them to us. She hasn't responded, which I wasn't expecting her to. So now we're going to follow through, and we're going to sue her for that information and those closing docs and whatever funds we have. This case, really the only thing that bothers me is that I literally tried to help her. I really did. And for some reason, she thinks I didn't. I mean, first of all, I told her not to sell the house. I told her rent it. Then I told her, sell your car. Why would you want to keep your car instead of your house? Like, your house is a bigger asset than your car. And she didn't want to. I paid 6 months of mortgage on top of attorney's fees, on top of late fees, on top of HOA fees and HOA late fees and attorney's fees for the HOA. And I saved her credit because every month I was paying that mortgage on time for the past 4 years, 5 years. I don't know what it was. And for her to turn around and do, like, why would you sabotage a deal like that? You're only hurting your credit by doing that. And now that I paid the loan off, I paid it off for her, and it went on her credit. She has whatever credit she now has is because of me, because I paid that note on time, and now I paid it off. So how can you say that someone is taking advantage of you for doing something like that? I don't know. Now I'm just even a little bit hesitant to do another subject too, because I am kind of frightened that I might get into a situation like this, and it's just time consuming, it's draining, it doesn't let me focus on my other deals because of this this house. And it's crazy that people would do something like that. But anyway, on another note, every other subject to that I've done has been great. Every seller is more than willing to do anything. If I ask them for anything, they'll call the mortgage company, they'll send a document, they'll sign this, they'll sign that. They're all very grateful that I took that property off their hands, with the exception of this lady. But I just wanted to share that story with you guys because I think it's going to be an interesting story. It's still being written, so please follow up, and I'll let you guys know how it all ended up being. But I really do want to follow through with it and do something about it. Follow through with my demand letter because I just feel like I'm the one that was wronged. I don't know if I'm correct. Comment below whatever comments you guys think about this situation, and I hope the story was entertaining, and hopefully you guys learned something from the story. If you have questions about the story or the case study, let me know. And I guess right now, since I am done with that story, or on pause, because we're still gonna be continuing that story, I'll let you guys know how it all ends at the end with her, and how this lawsuit ends up being. But anyway, as of right now, I guess I will go ahead and take questions and see what questions you guys have, and then I won't be taking too many questions this time because we have a date with a margarita and yeah, so I want to go do that. So I will take a few minutes to answer questions, and then I will let you guys go.
Okay, I have a few comments.
Okay.
Jose Argueta, he said, "Hi Dee, I hope you're having a great evening."
Hi Jose, yes, I'm having a great evening.
Mimi, he said, "Hi Dee, I'm so glad you're doing this tonight."
Thank you Mimi.
Mercedes, and just say hello.
Hello Mercedes.
And Michael Boyd said, "Oh, this is going to get so good."
Michael, you know this story, so.
And Nico Lopez is that you're such an inspiration of business owner that truly puts people first and always creating a win-win.
Aw, Nico, you're so sweet. I hope I see you in Vegas. I hope you are going to Vegas in December. So whoever's going to Vegas, come and say hello. Nico, I hope you are in Vegas so I can give you a big old hug. I love you. You're one of the best.
Okay, Jose Ventura is asking you a question. Do you close the sub-2 at a title company?
Jose asked if I close the subject to at a title company. Yes, I do. Any deal that you do in real estate, there's no other way to close it. At this time, maybe in the future there'll be different ways of closing, but in this particular moment, there is no other way that you should be closing any real estate deal other than with the title company if you want to be protected, as much as you can be protected in real estate. So no, you should not do any deal outside of a title company.
Okay. Janet Vargas, it says, "Good evening. Thanks for sharing. What is the difference between subject to and assuming a mortgage?"
Janet Vargas said, "What is the difference between a subject to and assuming a mortgage?" It's the same thing. Subject to is you taking a property subject to the existing loan staying in place. Assuming a loan is you are assuming someone else's responsibility to pay that debt off. It's essentially the same thing. You could say use different wording, but the definition truly is the same. So however you want to say it, it'll be the same thing that you're doing. Whether you're assuming it or taking it subject to, you're doing the same thing. You're paying someone else's loan off for them.
Okay, Jose Jose Ventura, it says irrevocable trust is important for that reason. I don't know what it means, it's just a comment.
Okay, I think it was a comment
Yes.
about a trust.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Gloria Gutierrez.
Hi, Gloria.
He says, what are ABTA PO for the specific property of any future subjects?
I don't know what you said.
Es está abreviado.
Let me see. It's right here. What's in white? Okay. What about a POA for that specific property in any future subject to that way you have control? I did have POAs, and every property that I get subject to, I have a POA. And I thank God I had it with this property because that POA saved me a bunch of times. But if they revoke the POA, you're stuck without a POA. So your POA means nothing. It's a trash. It's a piece of paper that means nothing to no one if the seller revokes it. And a POA can be revoked at any point and whenever they feel like it. So really it's only worth something until they say it's not. So I always have a POA with every deal subject to that I do, but in this case it didn't matter. She revoked it, so it meant nothing. So, and the next question. Oh, we're waiting. Meanwhile, I can drink some water.
Okay, Christy Alverston. He said, hi Dee, my first property is still on the market after 1 year.
Wow.
My agent has done everything to sell it with no luck. My question is, should I refinance it and rent it or lower the price significantly? And take a huge loss? My main concern is paying of my investor.
Okay, so what was her name?
Christy Alverston.
Christy Alverston? Okay. Christy, your question was, you have had a house on the market for over a year and you want to know if it would be best to refinance it and rent it out, or lower your price and take a loss. So I honestly would have not let it sit on the market for that long. First things first, if you have a house on the market, you should be either right at everyone else's price or a little bit under everyone else's price and be the best house out there. For me to judge or give you my opinion of what I would do if I were you, I would need to see the house and I would need to do a little bit of due diligence. But if it's been on the house on the market for a year, my first question is, have you lowered the price already, and how much, and is it staged? What is wrong? Because 3 things that sell a house or don't sell a house, it's location, price, or condition. So is your house in a bad location? Is it near a highway, or is it in a place where no one wants to be in? Is it a desirable area? Or is it in a subdivision where, pretty much everyone's the same, so that shouldn't be the issue. 2 is the condition. Is something wrong with it? Have you gotten an inspection? Maybe you had a contract and it fell through and there's an inspection, there's something wrong, have you fixed it? Or maybe sometimes I see a lot of investors start a rehab and then they start cutting corners, and people can see that. So, why would I spend $500,000 or $250,000 on a house that's not done properly? or, you know, your price are you way higher than the rest of the houses in the area? They look the same like you. They're in the same location. If it's a great location, they're in the same great location. They look the same as you, but your house is $15,000, $20,000 more with really essentially no explanation. So what is really going on there? Why is it not selling? There has to be one of those three reasons: location, the condition, or the price. That why your house is not selling. And if that were the case, perhaps if you have too much money invested in it, I would go ahead and just, you know, refinance it and get your lender paid, because you don't want to leave a bad taste on your lender's mouth. You know, you want them to do business with you again. And if you're not paying your investors, they're not going to want to do business with you. Like my investors, I love my investors, because the minute that I call them up on the phone and I'm like, I need $200,000, and the next day I'll have it in my bank account. That's literally the kind of investors you want. That's the kind of lenders you want. But you can't have those type of investors or lenders if you are not paying them, you know. So you want to pay them as quickly as possible so they can return and see their money is safe with you, as safe as it could potentially be. And so I would potentially refinance. Again, I need to see the deal. I need to see what the house looks like, what's the location. I don't know what part of the world this house is in. So maybe if you want to send us an email, and I could take a quick look. You can send an email to info@therenovationdiva.com, and we can take a look at your deal, or comment below your information, how we can get a hold of you, and we'll get in touch with you to see if we can send you some information on that. But I would probably refinance it, get my lender from underneath the house, and perhaps rent it. And if you want to get a certain amount of money for it, then I would let the market appreciate with it. I mean, you're gonna get money. I mean, a house that is rented, it's an asset. You know, just look at it this way. You're gonna be getting paid, I don't know, maybe $200, $300, $400 a month for a house that you're not getting any money right now. That house is only pushing money out, and you, by renting it, you are bringing money in. So you're making it an asset, and right now it's a liability. So that's what I would do. I guess if I were you, I would, without knowing more details, I would rent it. So hopefully that answered your question. I know I kind of rambled on a little bit.
She also make another comment. He said, I had lowered the price $55K since I put it on the market. Great location in the schools. People are complaining about the flat roof. The master room is on the first floor.
Okay, so I guess people are complaining about the design because you've lowered the price $50,000+ on it. And so again, I have to look at it, because, you know, I've been really, really blessed that I haven't encountered that situation yet, where, you know, when we buy a house, we analyze every single detail to avoid every possible risk. Risks still happen, but, you know, I always make sure that I look at what location is it, what price, how can we sell it, how can we market it. So many different things. So I would love to talk to you a little bit more. So put your information, or if we're not friends on Facebook, send me a message, and keep trying, because I just realized that they're spam, and I didn't know that all these people were sending me messages, and I didn't even know they were sending me messages. So just send me an email, or send me your contact info with your email. That way we can maybe talk about it a little bit more, because that sounds interesting. So hopefully that helps, and I look forward to talking to you soon.
Okay. Mike Horsley. Heidi, when you fix a fire damaged homes or add a square footage, do you act as the GC, or do you hire a GC?
Mike
He's from Napa.
Mike from Napa. Do I hire a GC or am I my own GC when I do my fire damage houses? Mostly I'm my own GC in any project I do, whether it's a fire damage or not. Just because most of the subs that I work with are already used to me, and they know what I like, they know how I want things and stuff, so it's not really necessary for me to go every day to the project, so it's not a lot of time consuming that I, like a GC has to go and look at every single project and all that stuff, so it's not really time consuming because I just go and do the scope of work with them, and then I may go once a week or twice a week to the project, and everything's going according to plan. But when I first started, I did use a GC because, one, I didn't know what I was doing. Not that I know now because we're always learning. But I always used to use one because it was just easier. So I recommend that when you are first starting that you use a GC. They're a little bit more knowledgeable, and perhaps they may hold you back from making mistakes that you would if you were on your own. So hopefully that answers your question. Next question, please.
Okay, Jose Argueta. Do you,
Jose?
He said, how did you figure out how much to offer that lady and if it is floated home?
Flooded? Mm-hmm. How much did I figure out to offer a lady if it was a flooded home?
Mm-hmm.
Yes? Okay. I guess I'm not sure if I'm understanding your question, but for a flooded home, I actually have not made any offers on flooded houses. I'm just kind of sitting back a little bit with that and seeing how the market goes with that. The only way I would buy a flooded house right now is if it were a house that I would be okay with renting. I feel like the market is going to change a lot. I just visited a neighborhood about 45 minutes from where I live, and that entire neighborhood was affected, still affected. I mean, I saw people out there, this was 2-3 days ago. There's people out there still cleaning out their yards, still putting trash on the curbside. They're still trying to get things together, and there's homes that they haven't even been touched. And so with that being said, like all of these houses, and this is not just 1 or 2 houses in a neighborhood, it is like the entire neighborhood. So let's say, for example, I buy a house in that neighborhood and I fix it in 3 months. Chances are that all those neighbors around me have not gotten their house ready in 3 months from now. They're probably going to still be working on their houses little by little because they're not going to get $200,000-$300,000 loan to fix their house in less than 2 months. They're going to do it little by little. So I'm predicting that these people are going to take about a year and a half, maybe even 2 years to get their life back together. Meanwhile, I will be in the situation as, I don't remember her name, the one that had the house that's been on the market for a year. That'll be the same situation where, people, it won't be a good location because people will not want to move there. They'll be scared or whatever. Maybe after a few years, people will forget what happened and they'll start to want to move back into those neighborhoods. But I don't want to be the only house rehabbed in that neighborhood. Where am I going to comp myself from if everyone else is still devastated? So I would not buy anything right now. I don't know if that was your question. I hope that was your question. If it wasn't, I'm sorry, and you could just ask again, please. Okay, so.
Okay. Just a comment, Shirley Mosley said, I love that you mentioned staging. It is, it totally works.
Yes it does. Ms. Mosley just commented, she's one of the best stagers I know, And she always does a great job on my rehab. So if you guys in the Houston area need a stager, you need to get her. Get her information. And if you're listening, put your information down on the comments so people know how to get a hold of you. So, okay.
Carla Howard, say hi, Dee.
Carla? Oh, hi, Carla. How are you?
Sean, they say, do you use any system for marketing?
Sean, do I use any systems for marketing? Not any specific system. I mean, I do pretty much everything everyone else is doing. You know, just direct mail. I like to do a lot of driving for dollars. You know, it is the law of averages. You have to do it a lot in order to get a deal. But if you get one deal that gets you $50, $60, $150,000, was it worth it? You going out every single day and picking up 15, 20 addresses per day, or whatever the case may be, for the past 4 or 5 months? You know, is it worth doing that to get $150,000 in the next 6 months? Yeah. So I like driving for dollars because it's unique. You know, those, just like the case study that I just told you guys, you know, the lady called me and she was upset because 20 other investors sent her letters, including myself. And so when you buy a list or you do stuff like that, that's mostly the case. You know, they're going to get multiple letters from everyone because everyone's getting the same list. So you're not special. Everyone is contacting that same seller, potential seller. So by you picking up your own leads and organic leads, then you have a better chance, in my opinion, because no one else has that lead. Only you sent that letter, or perhaps only you. I don't know, maybe somebody else did driving for dollars in that neighborhood and saw the same house you did. But chances are that, you know, you're going to be the only one contacting them. And maybe they are looking to sell. You don't know. A house that I just recently did, I think it was last year, I did that house. It was driving for dollars. We did it for like, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, it was maybe like 2-3 months. And we got that house. So it was great. And I haven't been doing it as much as I have, or I should, because I've been lazy. But I started doing it up again, and people start calling, you know, so I like it. But letters are great. Lists you buy are great. Absentee owners are great. So however you can get a hold of someone, as long as your phone keeps ringing. So hopefully that answered your question. Do we have any more, or is it time for margaritas?
Okay. Christy just say thanks, Dee. I will send you the address. That's the lady was with the house that she can sell. And then I was trying to put something else to comment on. Jose Argueta is asking for the information with staging.
Maybe can you tag Cheryl Mosley?
I'm trying
Yeah.
to tag her.
Yeah. So someone is asking for your information, Cheryl. So put your information on the comments, girlfriend. So aloha from Hawaii. Ooh, yes, I want to go to Hawaii again. Maui's my best island, by the way. So if you live in Maui, I will go visit you. We'll be BFFs. How many states are you operating? I am only operating in Texas at the moment, but I wouldn't mind going to visit Hawaii. So if you got something over there, let me know and I will go visit you.
Okay, so Shamika says Dios te bendiga from Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, thank you, Shamika. Which, by the way, is anyone here, Fortune Builders, are you guys going to be at Vegas for Ignite? I want to know who's going to Vegas because I would really like to connect and see you guys in person, and perhaps we can network a little bit, maybe go get some dinner or something. So that would be nice. if you guys or any fortune builders are going to Vegas. I'll be one of the speakers. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but I'm sure it's going to be fabulous because it's me. Hello. So I'm excited for that. I'm already picking out my outfits and my earrings. So
Carlos
check that
ready
out.
to join you for the margaritas.
Carlos.
Carla.
Oh, Carla? Carla Eisenhower?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes, Carla. We're going to Los Cucos. So if you want to go, you know where it's at. So I will see you there shortly. Anyone else?
I think that's it. All
Oh, thank God. We're done. Okay. So before we go, thank you guys for watching me ramble on for all this time. I'm sure it wasn't, you know, a glamour scene. I hope that you guys found this very interesting and informative. I'm glad you guys spent some time with me. If you like it, you know, comment below and I will do one in December. I will be in Vegas, so I will probably do it from the airport because, you know, we'll be flying back home that Monday, the first Monday of the month, which will be the day that I would do it. So if you guys want me to do another live, I'm more than happy to do another live for you guys. And share whatever information I have with you guys. I really love to do this and help you guys out. I'm only going to share information that I've gone through and stuff that I know and that it's worked for me. So I don't know anything else other than that. So if you guys want to hear me ramble about that, by all means, let me know. Comment below, and depending on how many people are interested, then we'll do another live in December. Again, if you guys have any deals here in the Houston area or in Hawaii, let me know. You can send us your deals at deals@therenovationdiva.com, and you know, we'll go ahead and take a look at those deals. If you are a realtor that has a deal and we close on your deal, once we fix the house and we put it back on the market, it's your deal to list. So on top of you guys bringing that deal, of course, you get the back end of that deal with forced appreciation on that property, so more commission for you. So anyway, that's all I have to say. I am very, very grateful that you guys joined in, and thank you. Very humbled that you guys want to sit here and listen to me ramble on about my day or my experiences or my case studies. So thank you so much. I hope you guys have a blessed evening. I hope you guys found this informative until perhaps December, which I think it's December 4th. So perhaps we'll do it then. Let me know what you guys think. Until then, I gotta go, guys, because there's a margarita at Los Cucos with my name on it. So thank you guys. Have a great evening. I'll see you guys soon. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Bye.